Hello, good morning. Um, Please, can everyone hear me? Good morning. If you can hear me, you can just give me a thumbs up. Okay, thank you. You're all welcome to the Negxy UK Study Abroad Fair. So basically what we are here today to do is to tell you more about the UK and what the UK has to offer you as an international student. If you have any questions during the session, please ensure to drop them in the comments section and we'll have our able counselors respond to all your questions on time. Once again, you're welcome to this session. So basically today, what we'll be taking you through is how you can start your education in the UK this September 2025. Okay, so the agenda for today would be, we'll be taking you through Negxy as an institution. We'll let you know why the UK should be a preferred study destination for you over other destinations that you might be considering. What are the study requirements for the UK? What kind of documents do you need to study? What kind of qualifications do you need to have to be able to study in the UK? We would also be taking you through affordable institutions in the UK because most people assume that the UK is a very expensive place to study, but that's not always the case. Also, we'll be taking you through options for HND graduates. If you're an HND graduate, please stay tuned and you'll get to know various options you can use to further your education in the UK. We'll also be taking you through options for third class graduates, MRS opportunities, which is the Masters by Research program. That's what we'll be taking you through for today. So this is Negxy. Negxy is a very trusted study abroad agency in Ghana. We are mainly located at Osu. So if you want to pass by our office at any time, you can. So Negxy has been in existence since 2013, and we have processed over 6,500 clients through Negxy. And these are very satisfied clients, have no complaints, and our success rate has been 99%. So once you need assistance to any of these countries, UK, Canada, US, Ireland, and any European countries, please contact us and we'll be able to assist you seamlessly. So these are various locations in Accra, Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. For our Accra office, we are located at Osu, just close to Breakfast or Frankie's. If you need directions, you can give us a call and we'll direct you to the office to make any further inquiries after the presentation. Or if you want to start your study abroad process, you can also walk into our office any day from Monday to Friday and we'll be able to assist you. So today's presentation, I will be going through with myself, I'm Diamond, also with my colleague Joshua, who would be coming in to take you through why you should study in the UK. Hi, Joshua. Can you please come in?
Hi, Diamond. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Great. All right. So thank you one and all for taking time out of your day to join this session. We're very excited to have you join this virtual session where we're taking you through why you should consider studying in the UK. So once again, you're all welcome to this virtual fair. So without wasting much time, I'll talk about why you should study in the UK. So out of all the destinations that are available for you to choose to study in USA, Canada, Australia, why should you consider the UK? Now, there are a number of reasons why the UK stands out of all the destinations that I've just mentioned, being that UK is one of the most popular destinations for international students for their high academic excellence. Now, the UK has very, very high academic standards. Their school has very, very innovative teaching methods, strong research, if that is what you're interested in. And another reason is that they have a shorter course duration. If you are considering undergrad as a bachelor's, it's 3 years, whereas in other destinations that I've mentioned, it's 4 years typically. And at the master's level, it's 1 year, whereas it's 2 years in most destinations. So this is a very, very good, actually a very strong reason why you should consider studying in the UK, because you're going to save on money because you're studying for a shorter duration. So this makes a lot of sense if budgeting is at the top of your list. Now, considering all other things also. The programs that they offer in the UK are quite diverse. You find programs in the UK that you will not find mostly in other places. Their degrees are very strong and recognized globally, very respected. So it gives you an edge in the job market when you're out there looking for a job after your studies. You also have opportunities to be able to uh, do internships, gain experience, volunteer work. All this goes to boost your CV whilst you're studying in the UK so that you are very well placed and very well presented to be able to attract employers after completing your studies. Another factor I would like to mention is that the UK is very culturally diverse. Now, it's a very multicultural environment where you find students from all facets of or all corners of the world. So, for instance, for us here in Ghana, if you go to the UK, there's a very strong Ghanaian community. You find other communities from the continent, Nigerians, Ugandans, Kenyans, and they all have associations. So you're not just thrown out there on your own to figure things out. You have a community that you can network with. These people who have been there for a while should be able to help. Will help you with if you're interested in internship opportunities, employment opportunities, basically figuring out the system of working abroad. So again, you are not alone. There's community around you. There's people you can engage with, and you find that it's actually something that you may not consider before going into or considering when you're looking at a place to study. But actually, you would come to appreciate the community because you find that it's a support system that a lot of people don't have in other destinations. So for Africans, it's a very good place to be, especially Ghanaians, Nigerians, very, very huge communities. And you can find communities around various things, even tribes like Gans, Akans, and it goes down sub-levels. So yeah, UK is a very, very good place to be. As I mentioned, with all the examples that I've given, a strong community, global recognition for your qualifications that you're going to come out with, the shorter course duration, and also the very high academic excellence. All right. So while studying in the UK, you're allowed to work 20 hours per week on your student visa, right? So I talked about opportunities to be able to do internships. The universities also in the UK afford you, they have what they call a career counseling and guidance unit that can also help you depending on what you're studying. And if there are opportunities that are available out there, they can put you on the path towards securing an internship. Your lecturers can also do same. They organize career fairs whilst you're still in school. So you get to meet the employers, see what the job market demands are, so that you're also able to better position yourself, right? Now, after graduating from your studies in the UK, you're able to stay back 2 years, whether completing a master's or an undergraduate program. So you qualify for 2 years post-study work permits. This allows you to stay back in the UK to be able to work and gain valuable experience. This even allows you the opportunity to transition to long-term visas like the skilled visa, worker visa, if you are interested in that. Right. So I will move on to talk about the entry. Okay. Sure. Let's talk about the other visas that are available. I did mention the skilled worker visa. So there are other types of visas that are available for those interested in going to study in the UK outside of the study visa. Yeah, the global talent visa. So this visa is open to all international students who are in the field of the arts and culture, interested in research, digital technology, academia, and the likes. And that is for 3 years. The Innovator Founders Visa, temporary work visa, and the Scale-Up Worker Visa. So depending on what your particular situation is, you can explore these visa options to remain in the UK after studies or prior to. So moving on, I'll talking now about the entry requirements or the documents you need to arm yourself with to be able to pursue an undergrad or a postgrad education in the UK. So first and foremost, you have your WAEC or WASI certificate for us in Ghana. This should be accompanied with a results checker scratch cards so that your results can be verified by the university. Yeah. They say those people, they eat jollof with stew. They have trust issues. So, yeah. There's an international passport. You should have a detailed CV that states your qualifications, that is your educational experience, your professional experience, whatever hobbies, any interesting thing that you've done that you feel would give you a boost that would look good on you should be stated there. So if you've done any certification, workshops, everything should be put in there. A CV should be detailed, should be well presented to best represent you. So at a glance, they know exactly who you are, what you've done, and they can make a correlation why you are looking at the program that you're looking to study. I hope that is clear. Now, the statement of purpose, I'll stop to talk briefly about this document. So this is basically an essay that outlines a bit about you, your background, why you're interested in the program you're looking to pursue, why you're interested in studying in the UK, what the program you're studying, how that program is going to align with your career goals, and what you intend to do after pursuing said program. So it's, as I mentioned, it's an essay. You are at liberty to write as much as you can, so far as it makes the point or it makes the case for you. So this document is actually very important because outside of your CV, this is where you state your intent for pursuing the program that you're looking to pursue. As I mentioned, it gives the universities at a first glance a background into what your mindset is, what the rationale is behind choosing the program, and what you intend to do afterwards. There are other things, gems that are around writing this document. When you come into Negxy Concept, our able counselors will give you all the tips. And even when you write your personal statement, they can review it, give you guidelines on how to improve it and better it. So let's bear that in mind. It's a very important document. And as much as possible, plagiarism is a no-no when it comes to personal statement. It should be an original thought out document that you put together. So bear that in mind. All right, moving on to references. So references could either be academic or professional if you've had prior employment. So depending on what level they're going to study at, if it's a master's or undergrad. Academic or professional references will be required. A testimonial if it's part of the entry requirements for the school. So that is the undergraduate requirements that we've looked at. For the postgraduate requirements, your degree certificate and transcript or HND or OND, whichever one that you have, and then your transcripts. Again, I talked about the CV, I talked about the statement of purpose, reference letters, academic or professional, your valid international passport. Yeah, I failed to mention this prior, but let's take note. Your passport should not be on the verge of expiry as at the time you are applying for your visa. Sorry, for the school application and then also your visa. So bear that in mind, the expiry date of your passport when you are making said application. Your WASI certificate or NECO if you're in Nigeria. And if an English language test is required as a standardized English language test, such as IELTS, TOEFL, PTE, and the others, you can present that also in this regard. Other than that, if it's not required for Ghanaians and Nigerians, a minimum of C6 for most subjects in English would get you through. All right. So depending on the program that you're also looking at, a research proposal may be required if it's a research program. If you're married, your marriage certificate, if there's any change of name or affidavit that you've gazetted, all said documents should be added, right? So this goes a long way to ensure that you are set. Once you have all of these documents in place, you're good to go with your application to any of the schools that we have available in the UK. Now, some popular programs that a lot of African students tend to lean towards have been listed here. I will not go through the list, but notably, I'll talk about the health programs are very big. Business also are also a big field. And then coming up now as the world advances more or leans more towards technology and AI, artificial intelligence, data science and analytics, cybersecurity are also big programs. that you need to look towards. As the job market is changing and transitioning, we also need to be able to align ourselves so that we're not left out. You don't study anything that you come out of school and then you're redundant. So you need to be able to align your career prospect with what the job market demands also are. So these are all things that we take into consideration when we are counseling you into selecting a school and a program, right? So that you come out there, you're very employable, you can get a job fairly quickly, and life moves on. So let's take notes of some of these programs, project management and the likes. Okay, so there are a lot of schools in the UK, as I've mentioned, for one reason or the other, people will make their option, but definitely one key reason for us on this side of the world would be affordability, because cash rules everything. But yeah, funds are limited, so you need to make the best option. Know the available options so that you can make the best choice that best lines up with what your pocket has to offer. So we'll look at some affordable schools that are in the UK. Their average tuition for undergraduate is between £12,000 to as high as £27,000, right? So you fall somewhere in between. If you are looking for an undergraduate program at some of the very most affordable schools in the UK. And for the postgraduate, you're looking at between 11,500 to £25,000, right? Okay, so other things, other costs to consider will be your student visa application fee. So currently that sits at £524. There's a immigration health surcharge. So that's insurance, health insurance. Currently that's at £776. And then your proof of funds, when you are applying for your visa, you need to be able to show funds that you have to be able to support yourself whilst you're in school. And for the UK, if you're living within London, that is £13,347. And outside of London, you're required to have, I don't think that this figure is correct. That should be around 10,224. Okay. So take note of this as we move forward. Now, there are several options also to consider if you're looking to save costs. The universities comes, as I mentioned, all shapes and sizes with all kinds of policies, and there are some where they have favorable payment plans where you are allowed to you can negotiate your payment plans. It all comes down to having a conversation with the school after you get there to determine the best payment plan for you. So for instance, we have schools that will offer you as many as 7 installment plans after your tuition deposit. So this gives you a bit of time whilst you're working, saving money and studying to be also able to make the payments towards your tuition. So you can leverage on scholarship opportunities and discounts that the schools offer. Primarily, the schools that we work with at Negxy have very, very good discounts and some scholarships that are available for you to consider. So schools outside of England, like in Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, are most notably known for their low cost of living. Those areas have very, very moderate or reasonable cost of living, whereas compared to those who are studying inside of London. So as I mentioned, some schools like the University of Dundee and Glasgow Caledonian in Scotland, they offer very affordable tuition and scholarships also. In Wales, that's the south of Wales and Wrexham, also very budget friendly. I know for exam, you have tuition as low as 11,500 for the master's program, right? After their discounts has applied. And in Northern Ireland, University of Ulster, amongst other things. So as I mentioned, with the further you go from London, you find cost of living is a bit cheaper. So other tips that you can take note of to save money is sharing accommodation. And then also I've talked about there are counseling units at the schools. You can take advantage of that to be able to secure jobs, part-time jobs, where, as I mentioned, with your student visa, you're allowed to work up to 20 hours a week. Yeah. moving on. Okay, so now we're going to talk about tuition fees and then tuition deposits for some notable schools. All right, so names have been blurred out for obvious reasons, but if you come to Negxy, you want to work with us, definitely you'll be kept in the loop. You have all the information that you require. So come, let's help you get admission to some of these schools if you're interested. Tuition fee as low as £11,800, 50% tuition deposit, 12,500 and 50% tuition deposit, amongst other things. So one thing you should take note of when it comes to tuition deposit is after your tuition deposit, this goes to inform how much you're going to be required to show for your proof of funds, right? So the more you're paying for your tuition deposit, the lesser your proof of funds will be. So there's a correlation between that. And you find that most of the schools that also have very low tuition deposit, as much as possible, or most of the time, you find you have to make some additional payments to top up. So for the UK, let's say 50% is the median. However, you do have some schools that are taking below that, and then they don't have additional payments upon enrollments. So let's take note of that. Again, when you come to us, our able counselors will take you through all of these options that are available. So you can pay as low as £4,000 for your tuition deposit and not have to make any additional payments. And with very, very flexible payment options that, as I mentioned, you have a discussion with them, and that can be, you can come to an agreement on how you're going to make your payments, right? So bear that in mind. Okay.
Okay, Joshua,
So we're going to move on to the options for HND and graduates. And yeah, Diamond is ready to take over. So I'll hand it over to her at this point. Thank you very much for listening to my TED Talk.
Thank you so much, Joshua, for taking us through. Please remember that if you have any questions, please drop it in the chat box and our counselors will respond to you. Okay, so moving on, we'll be taking talking about options for HND graduates in the UK. So most of the time in Ghana, when a student graduates with an HND degree, it's assumed that they cannot further to pursue a master's or even do a degree. It becomes hard for them to move ahead or further their education. But for the UK, there are several options for students with an HND to be able to do this seamlessly. So the various options that an HND student can have is to either pursue a top-up degree or pursue a pre-master's program or go for an extended master's. So delving more into this, for a top-up degree in the UK, it's normally the last year of a bachelor's degree. So once you have an HND, you can apply for this, and then you do 1 year of a top-up degree and you come out with a bachelor's degree. This will enable you to be able to apply for a master's program. Another option is to apply for the pre-master's program. What this pre-master's does is that it's a foundation program for students who do not qualify for a direct entry into a master's program. So it normally runs between 3 to 9 months, and it gives students the necessary foundation courses to enable them to be eligible for a direct master's course. You can also apply for an extended master's, which runs from 15 months to between 15 to 16 months. And in some cases, students with an HND upper credit will be qualified for a direct master's. And this is considered by the school on a case-by-case basis. So there are quite a number of options for students with an HND. So you just have to get your documents ready and then reach out to us and we'll be able to assist you at any point in time. So moving on, we'll be talking about options for third class students. The same applies for third class students in Ghana, where when you graduate with a third class, to pursue a master's is extremely hard because you have to go and do either a certificate course to be able to top up. You do not have the option to proceed to pursue a master's. But for the UK, you would have the option to do that. So here are some options for students with a third class. And for Ghana, we know that a third class student is normally has normally a GPA of 2.0 and above, 2.0 and below, sorry. And for students with a percentage, like students from KNUST, you would be looking at 40% and below for a third class. So if you are not sure of your GPA, of your graduating class, once you take your transcript and you check, once you have a 2.0, you should know you have a third class. And if you have a 40% or below, it means you have a third class. But that doesn't end there. You still have various options to pursue once you decide if you want to study in the UK. So some options include a postgraduate diploma or a pre-master's program. As I mentioned, both HND and third class students have this option. So it normally runs from 6 to 9 months for third class students, whereas for HND students, it's from 3 months to 9 months. So that's the variation. And once you are done with this, you can add this to your third class degree certificate, and you can get a direct entry to a master's program. So that's very easy to do. There's no stress there. Another option is that some UK universities actually accept students with a third class to be able to pursue a master's. So the master's will be for 1 year. With this one, there's no foundation, there's nothing. You qualify to pursue a 1-year master's. So if you're interested in this, please reach out and we'll be able to assist you. So once you have a 2.0, at least a 2.0, you should be able to get a direct entry into a master's program, depending on the course you want to pursue. Normally, one thing that's really considered is that you should have at least 2 years plus of work experience in the field you want to go and study in. So you cannot have maybe a communication field and say that you want to be working in a communication field for the past 3 or 4 years and say that you want to pursue business analytics with the third class. It's not going to fly. But then if you are working as a business analyst and you want to pursue maybe an MSc degree in business analytics, it will make it way easier, even though your grades do not meet up. So please take note of that. So it's not just about having a third class and going to apply to the school. You have to ensure that the program you're applying for relates to whatever you're doing currently. Another option for you is to apply for an extended master's, which, as I spoke about earlier, runs between 15 to 16 months. And it's for students with third class, as I mentioned. Normally, for the extended master's, it gives you the option, just like the pre-master's program, to do a longer time in school and be able to graduate with a master's as well. So moving on, we'll be looking at some UK universities that accept third class. So just to name a few, we have universities like the University of Dundee, which accepts a third class for students. Once you have a GPA of 2.0, you'll be accepted. But if your GPA is below that, you would not be accepted. And obviously, their tuition fee is very affordable. It's between 15,000 to about 23,000 pounds. So 15,000 mainly for business courses. But if you're looking at science and medical courses, you'll be looking at tuition fees which are much higher. So take note of that. So even though the tuition is affordable, if you're looking at science courses, you'll be having a much higher tuition fee. And the deposit is also very affordable, £5,000, which compared to other institutions, as you can see from the table here, with 50% tuition deposit, is also quite affordable. So once you have a third class and you want assistance, please just reach out to us, or you can leave a message in the comment box and you'll be directed to one of our counselors to assist you with the various schools and their tuition deposits. So we'll be moving on to the Masters by Research options. I know a lot of you are very interested in this option because of the fact that you always hear that it allows you to go with your dependents. So you are always looking for options to be able to pursue this course. There are a few things you have to note about this course, the Masters by Research course. So first of all, it's a research-based course, as it says in the name, that lasts between a year or two, depending on the school, depending on the program. Okay, and it's mainly designed for students who want to go into a PhD study. A lot of students want to pursue this course but have no interest in research, just want to pursue it because it allows them to go with their dependents, which is not advisable because this course is strictly research. And imagine doing a research program that has been cramped into a year. It doesn't give you so much time for other things. You have to be extremely focused on your studies to be able to go through the program successfully. And at the end of the day, if you're unable to go through the program successfully, it doesn't help your aim in going there. So you have to ensure that this is something you want to do. You have a passion for research. Before you take this step, you do not just take the step because it's going to allow you to go with your family. Please take note of that. So if you also want to pursue research careers in academia, NGOs, and other industries, research and development industries, this is the perfect program for you. It's all about ensuring that this is actually something you want to do. So requirements for Masters by Research program. So first of all, you have to ensure that you have at least a second class lower and above to be able to gain admission to an MRS program. It's not all schools, the qualifications vary per school. Some schools will say they need a second class upper before you can apply or get an admission. So you always have to make sure, once you reach out to us, we would let you know the schools you qualify for based on your qualification. But at least with a minimum of second class lower, you should be able to get a school that would accept you for a Masters by Research programs. Also, you need a very good research proposal because most MRS programs require you to submit a research proposal. This research proposal, a lot of students who want to do this MRS program cannot even provide a research proposal. And that's a big red flag because you are saying that you're interested in doing a full-time research program. And if you cannot submit a proposal of a minimum of about 2,000 words, then that means that this is not something that's for you. So you have to ensure that if you want to actually pursue this program, you should have a good research proposal that would make you an ideal candidate for the program. You also have to provide references. You have to provide 2 references. One has to be academic. The academic reference, in most cases, has to come from your supervisor in your undergraduate project work, as we call it in Ghana, so that the reference will state in it that you have a research experience. So normally, you can go to your school and get a general research proposal, but that's not advisable when it comes to an MRS program. You have to get it from your final year project supervisor stating that you do have research experience. You also have to get a professional experience from either a supervisor at work, which would be very ideal. You're also required to submit a statement of purpose. This statement of purpose has to reflect that you have a strong research motivation. Why do you want to pursue a research program? Maybe you want to pursue a program in psychology. There are several MA and MSc psychology programs, but why specifically do you want to do it in a research field? You should be able to explain that convincingly enough to show them that this person is actually interested in the program and is not just applying for the program because of the benefits it comes with. Also, you have to prove your English proficiency. So in most cases, for the Masters by Research program, you have to provide your WASI with a C6. Once you have a C6 in English and above in your WASI examination, you will not need to provide any further documentation. But then some schools would ask you to provide an IELTS exam, even though you have the WASI with C6. So you have to confirm, or you, as I said, just reach out to us and then we'll be able to tell you the schools that require IELTS and the schools that will just require you to provide your WASI C6. Once you provide your WASI, the school is accepting the WASI, you also have to keep in mind that you'll be asked to provide a WAEC scratch card. This is because a lot of students try to provide certificates that are not original. So the WAEC scratch card helps them to verify that, okay, this student actually has the grades that they've submitted on the certificate. So it's not anything complicated, very easy to get the scratch card. You just have to ensure that you put that aside and be able to provide it for the school. Also, kindly take note that applicants with HND or third class will not be accepted for MRS programs because, as I mentioned earlier, you need at least a minimum of a second class or upper to be able to qualify. In some exceptional cases, third class students will be accepted for a Masters by Research program if they have a postgraduate diploma in addition to the third class. So the third class alone does not qualify you, but a third class with a postgraduate diploma will then qualify you for a Masters by Research. So here are a few MRS programs that are currently running in the UK. We have the Masters by Research in Engineering, MRS Science and Health, MRS Creative Industries, MRS Management, MRS Psychology. So all these programs have different entry requirements. So depending on the program you want to study, we will now take you through the entry requirements based on your qualifications. And then if you qualify, that's good. We would go through the process with you. But if not, we will go ahead and provide you with other options. So here are some of the universities that offer MRS programs in the UK. So as you can see, the tuition fees for the MRS programs is also very affordable. You would have some of the schools offering you tuition fees as low as £13,425 for an MS program with a deposit of £4,000, which is extremely affordable to the average Ghanaian. And you have very varied tuition fees, varied tuition deposits. So you have to select based on your finances. Do not just apply to the school and after you get the offer, you do not know what exactly you are going to do. Ensure that you've checked the tuition, you've checked the tuition deposit, you've checked out the payment plan, and this is something that you are ready for and you can afford. Then you take the next step to be able to go through. Okay, so over here, I'm going to be taking you through a few UK laws that were proposed that are going to be affecting the MRS program in the long run. Currently, they have not yet taken effect, but in the long run, they are going to be affecting the MRS program if you are interested in the MRS program. So you have to take note of this. So this is also to let you know that you have to apply as early as possible if you do not want to be affected by these new laws. So first of all, the graduate route, which all of us are so excited about because in the UK, you go and do a 1-year master's and you're able to stay for 2 years. Currently, it's going to be cut down to 18 months instead of 2 years. And for this, if you enter the UK before this law is passed, it does not affect you. But if you enter after it's passed, then that's when it would affect you. So try and ensure that if you want to go, you prepare all your documents and be ready so that we can start the September application for you. Also now, those who are selecting the MRS programs because they want to go with their dependents, they are going to now be asking your dependents to provide English requirements to prove their English requirements, their English proficiency, sorry. So for the English proficiency, the students your dependents will either be required to take an IELTS or other English proficiency exam to show that they qualify or they can speak, read, and understand English. And this is something that as a Ghanaian, none of us want to do. Even you as a student, you feel like you can't speak the English, you understand the English. Why do you have to take the IELTS exam? So imagine having your spouse having to take this exam. It's going to be very frustrating and it's going to be coming at an extra cost. So you have to try and apply as early as possible to try and avoid all these costs. Another proposed law is that the citizenship or settlement in the UK is going to be extended to 10 years. So even after you've entered the UK, done your master's, gotten work and all that, you would not be able to apply for citizenship in the UK until you have stayed in the UK for 10 years, which is not a very favorable thing for anybody. So you have to ensure that you are able to go in before all these laws take place and you have a much comfortable stay in the UK. Please remember that if you have any questions, please leave them down and we would answer them as well. If you have any questions you want to voice out now, so you can kindly raise your hand and you'll be allowed to unmute and ask your questions. Thank you so much.
Hi, Diamond. Hello, everyone. So I think we can start with answering some of the questions that we have in the comments. So we have Joel Okoye asking, please, concerning sharing accommodation, how is their housing structure like? Do you or someone else want to go over what the housing and accommodation structure is in the UK for students? What options are available? If we can just address that.
Hi, Rosalind, please will you be able to address that for us?
All right. So, hi everyone. My name is Roslyn. Oh, let me put on my camera so you can see who is speaking. I wanted to quickly sneak in and sneak out, but unfortunately, I have been dragged in. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Roselyn, and I work with Negxy Concept Limited, but not in the Ghana office, in the Nigerian office. But I'm very much glad to be here with you guys today. And this question concerns anyone as an international student, and this is also applicable to Ghanaian students. So it depends on the school you're going to. Universities offer accommodation to students. It all depends. You can have a weekly rate, you can have monthly, you can have twice in a month. And it can range anywhere from like 120 to like 200 and something per week. So that comes to around 300 to around 500 for student accommodation. This can be pretty expensive for some people. Other options that you can explore would be shared apartments. So depending on the city, you can have an apartment within the city that you share with others, or you can have it slightly outside the city if you're staying in a more expensive city, say London or Birmingham, that can be pretty expensive in terms of the living cost. So you can stay pretty much outside the city. The transportation network is amazing. You have trains, you have buses, you can ride bikes, and there are taxis. And for most programs, you don't have to go to school more than twice a week. You have some courses you have to do online, and then you have to go to school, like I would say maximum twice a week, right? And at some point, you probably do everything online. So you do not have to actually commute between your home and school so much. So with this option, it now depends on you. You can be spending as much as 600 or as much as 250 to 200 pounds in a month, depending on where you are, who you're sharing with, and the kind of features that you like. So for the schools, they have pretty much different options. You can have an apartment yourself that has a mini kitchen, bedroom, and all that to you. You can have an apartment where you have your room, you have your reading area, your bed, your wardrobe, and all that, but you share kitchen and bathroom. You can have one where you have your bathroom and you have your room and everything, but you share a kitchen. So these are the options, and it all depends on the school and location. So some locations would have more options, some locations will have less options. But when it comes to accommodation, you're sorted. A lot of these are already thought about by the school, and they do give these options where available. Okay. So I hope that was understandable. Yeah. So I want to look at another question. So Emmanuel Aquafo, I'm so sorry if I'm not pronouncing it well, is asking electrical electronics engineering graduates, any university for me? My goodness, all universities are for you at this point. Please permit me, I have my son. I'm working from home today, so I have my son here. So it might be a bit noisy. Just ignore him. Electrical and electronics engineering, I would say that the UK is for you right now because this is where the world is heading to when it comes to tech. A lot of people think it's computer engineering or computer related things. Yeah. A lot of people think it is computer engineering or computer related things that are really moving, but no, you have a lot of tech, not tech, rather, engineering courses that are actually doing pretty well. Some engineering courses, you have to have an additional approval though. If you're going to a really technical course like aero engineering, you have you're doing bombs, or you're working with certain very delicate technologies, right? You're going to be learning them. You might need to have what you call an ATAS, right? That's an additional approval that you might need to go for. So if you're looking to go for any course that is under that, you have to contact us and then we'll look at it, what you're interested in. If you need to apply for an ATAS, then you have to do it early because that process itself takes months. So once you have gotten approval from the UK that you can't come and study a course like that, then we can go ahead with the rest of the program. But there are lots of programs that also do not need that if it's not a course that is very sensitive. And trust me, there are lots of jobs for people coming into this kind of courses because outside of the UK, even all across Europe, all across Asia, and the Americas. They're looking for brilliant people to work in emerging technology, especially incorporating AI into a lot of things. People need to be trained for it, and the training is now. So it's an advantage for you if you're looking to study anything that's related to electrical engineering or any engineering, basically. So I'm looking to see if there are any other questions.
Okay.
So I had a third class with a GPA of 2.46. Is there any help for me? So I'm going to take this to you, Diamond, to answer if there are options for Mr. Richard Arnold for a 2.46 GPA.
Yes. So thank you, Richard, for your question. So there are various options for you. You would, with a 2.46, it means that you'll be able to qualify for a direct master's program. Even though it's a third class, it's a higher third class, so you'll be able to qualify for a direct master's. So there are several options for you depending on the program you want to pursue. So you can just fill out the form that has been put in the chat box, and we'll contact you with the available options.
Okay, so this is an interesting question. Joel Okoye asks, do you take money for application process? So, Mr. Joel, yes, we do have an application fee of 2,000 Ghanaian cedis. However, if you're participating in this program, you have a 50% discount. So sorry. You have a 50% discount on this. So that will bring the amount to around 1,000 Ghanaian cedis. And this cuts across every single type of service that you're doing with us going forward. You're going to be getting a 50% discount on that.
Thank you. So we have Edmond Annan asking about petroleum engineering. I think he's asking if there are programs available for him in petroleum engineering. So Edmond, yes, there are programs available. You didn't state if it's for a degree or a master's program, but either way, there are several programs available in petroleum engineering once you do qualify for the program. So there are a lot of options, whether it's a bachelor's or a master's, we would be able to assist you with that. Okay. Okay, Junior, you're asking what's the other external scholarships. Okay, so if you're looking at external scholarships, so as you know, currently the Get Fund scholarship is open for Ghanaian students. The deadline for that scholarship is in 2 days. So you should have gotten an offer from a UK university to be able to apply for this scholarship. And for the scholarship, you need to have a first class to qualify for this Get Fund scholarship. So if you do not have a first class, looking at external scholarships will be quite hard. But once you have a first class, you can consider it. You have to write a very strong essay to convince them as to why they should sponsor your studies in the UK. So the Get Fund scholarship is currently open. If you have an offer, you can go ahead and apply. If not, then you have to wait for the next round of scholarships to open. I hope that's clear. Okay, AC Roxanne, you're asking, do we have any school offering food technology? Yes, we do. We have a number of schools offering that program, especially at a master's level. So please, once you are interested, please fill out the form in the chat box and reach out to you with further information, because we definitely need further information from you to know if it's a master's or it's a degree program and what your qualifications are, so that we know if you would qualify for this program. So there are a lot of options for food technology. So please go ahead and fill the form and we'll reach out to you with further information. Okay, Edmond Annan, you're asking, I studied biochemistry but currently working in a petroleum lab. I have 5 years experience. Why can't I see? With petroleum engineering, any school for me? Yes. As Rosalind explained, there are various options for you, especially in the engineering field. So once you are interested, once you want us to assist you, because we cannot give further counseling over here because we do not have more information like your grades and what's your your entire CV and everything, please fill out the form and we'll provide more options for you. Rosalind, I don't know if you want to provide more information for him regarding his question.
I'd say that you have answered it. In terms of specifics, we're not able to give specifics because we need to review your individual qualifications. You say you've had 5 years experience. That's a very good one because these are the things they consider when they are giving out offers. And I would say Scotland would be a school in Scotland would be really a good choice for you because they do have oils there, and schools are partnered with a lot of these industries, and so you can have real world experience, not just in a classroom. You can actually go to a rig and walk out of a rig as part of your school program. So there are a lot of options, and this just opens you up to worldwide opportunities, like I said. So yeah. If this is what you are interested in, we do have a lot of options for you, and we can give you personalized recommendations once we have all your details.
Thank you so much, Rosalind. So Charles, you're asking if you can qualify for an MRS program if you did not do a project work in your undergraduate study. So I would need more information on this because I know not everyone does a research work over here in Ghana in the undergraduate study, but then you still had to do a final year project. So based on that project, we can now determine what the way forward is, because you definitely had to do, if not a research, some form of internship or a particular project that you did for your final year. So based on that, then we can know how to move forward. But generally, for an MRS program, once you have at least a second class upper and have experience in that field, you should be able to go through. It's only for the references that you need from your supervisor. So once you did a project, you can contact that supervisor and he or she should be able to give you a reference letter. So that should not be an issue. It shouldn't hinder your chances of applying for a master's by research program. Okay. Felix Akwete, yeah, asking if we assist prospective students apply to universities that offer scholarship for international students for masters. So for the scholarships, as I mentioned, most of the scholarships for the UK are external scholarships. And in most of the cases, the UK scholarships are scholarships that you can even access here in Ghana. You can easily apply for them. So as I mentioned earlier, we have the Get Fund that's currently running. You can go through the scholarship secretariat as well. We do not have control over those scholarships because they are organizations based and they come from the government. So you have to apply for them as an individual after we've helped you get an offer. And then once you qualify, so as I said, it's based on your grades. So if you at least have a first class, then you know that you have about 60% or 70% chance of going through. Then now it comes to your engagement, community engagement, and several factors play a role. So based on the scholarship you are looking at applying to, then we know if you can qualify before we can even start the application process for you. Please, I hope this answers your questions. If not, please fill out the form and then we'll reach out to you and we can answer more of your questions. Okay, so Gideon, you're asking if you have a course in occupational health and safety at the master's level. Yes, there are schools that do have that program specifically. So once you are interested, please fill out the form and we would provide you with further details. So based on your qualifications, then we can tell you if you do qualify for the program or not. Okay. Anita, you're asking if we have any school for accounting programs. Yes, we do. We even have some schools in the UK that offer students who have a professional certificate in accounting a cheaper option of studies. So your tuition fee is much lower than other students. So if you're an accounting student, for instance, and maybe you, instead of going through the degree route, you have an ICA, you can always contact us. You can go directly for a master's program in the UK. I know for other countries, they do not recognize the ICA like the US and Canada, but for the UK, they do recognize the ICA. So if you have an ICA, you can apply directly for a master's program and your tuition fee would be about £11,800, which is extremely affordable. So please reach out and we'll be able to assist you easily. Okay. Hi, Enoch. Yeah, asking is IELTS a requirement with our partner institutions? Okay, so IELTS is generally not a requirement, as I mentioned earlier in my presentation. So once you're a Ghanaian student and you have a C6 in your English, in your WASI, you do not need IELTS. But if you have a D, E8, or an F, that's when you do need IELTS. And most of the time for the IELTS, you need to have at least an overall band of 6.0 and above. So with a 5.0 band, that's not very good. You have to be looking at the 6.0 and above. But you can still reach out to us. We can take a look at your documents and be sure that you do need the IELTS before you move ahead to writing the IELTS. Deborah, you're asking if we have schools that offer master's program in entrepreneurship. Yes, Deborah, we do. We have various schools that offer a program in entrepreneurship at a master's level. So please fill out the form that has been put in the chat box and we'll assist you further once you provide more information to us regarding this. Okay, so Isaac, you're asking if you have a BSc in medical laboratory. Okay, you have a BSc in medical laboratory and medical laboratory science, and also you're a police officer. Can you get an MSc course in any health related courses? Hi, Rosalind, please can you help me with this question?
Sorry, I'm trying to find
Okay, he said he has a BSc in medical laboratory science and
uh-huh.
works as a police officer. He
Yeah,
wants,
okay.
yes, if
I
he
think
can, any health related.
So Isaac, um, it depends on what you want to go for. If you want to maintain your medical background, you do have the qualifications to be able to maintain it. But also, it all depends on when you graduated as well. In most cases, you should be able to get another course into the medical field. This is obviously not related to your current career. But if you want to change careers and you want to study something either more related to what you're doing as police, or you want to do something that is maybe an administrative kind of job, or let's say a business administration with a focus on maybe logistics, or a focus on international marketing, or a focus on administrative duties, or maybe even the legal aspect, then you can also do that. So it all depends on what you want. I would say you have more options available to you because with your career, you can defend why you want to go for a course that is not related to your medical background. But with your medical background, you can defend why, after having a career outside of the medical field, you want to go back into your medicals. And then all this will be explained in your statement of purpose because you do have to write to the school explaining why you want to go for the course, what you intend to do, what you've been doing, what you hope to achieve, and all that and all that. So this can be contained in there. But I would say you have more options on your hand. So it just depends on where you want to go to. You did say you want health related. Yes, you are able to go into health related courses with the degree that you have. So yeah, you are able to do so.
Okay, thank you so much, Rosalind. There's another question which I think I'm finding difficult to understand. He says he has an offer to study MSc cybersecurity with a scholarship of £20,000 towards his tuition fees. And he wants to know if there's any scholarship he can consider for his accommodation.
In most cases, if you've already gotten a scholarship, it'll be hard to get another scholarship, especially if it's coming from the school. It all depends on which body is giving the scholarship. If it's a body that is connected to the school, if it's a body that is outside of that, let's say you're getting it from a Ghanaian body, then maybe. But in a lot of cases, you might not be able to get scholarship towards your accommodation if your initial scholarship doesn't cover it. But the thing is, you do have 20 hours a week to work. And I think that if your tuition is already covered, and you have 20 hours a week, that can cover your accommodation as well. So you just have to be able to manage your time well, to be able to, of course, with a scholarship, it means that you are a high flying student and you have used your academic qualifications to get scholarship. So you do have to maintain a very high pass mark or high score during your schoolwork. And so you do have to study a lot. But in addition to this, with 20 hours and you only have to cater for your accommodation and your feeding, you have enough to be able to make money for your accommodation and feeding if your tuition is already settled.
Thank you so much, Rosalind. So everyone asking about the form, please, the form has been put in the chat box a number of times. Please just scroll up a bit and then you would see that the form has been put in for you to provide further details so that we can contact you and assist you with anything that you would need. Okay. Okay, so I have Emmanuel asking, I have a Bachelor of Technology in Medical Laboratory Science. He wants to know if he qualifies for an MSc Public Health. Hi, Rosalind, can you help me with this?
Yeah, sure. He should be able to qualify. Even people from outside of the medical background with a very good, I know I've helped students with background outside of health to get public health. You just have to show how you have done things in your career, maybe volunteering or whatever, that is related to maintaining safety, especially just after COVID. This was one of the hot cake courses. Social works, nursing, and public health. Oh my goodness, everybody was going for public health. And a lot of people, like I said, were coming from very much unrelated backgrounds. And so if you already have medical laboratory science, you are more than qualified because a lot of the things that you want to do, you already know them by studying them in the laboratory. You are able to diagnose diseases, you're able to advise people on how to maintain their health through changing the way they live, the way they process their foods, the way they live in their environment, the harmful substances that they might be exposed to unknowingly. Do you understand? Like basically healthy lifestyle for kids, for older people, and for the public in general. So with that background, you're very much qualified to go into a public health course as a master's level.
Thank you so much, Rosalind. That's all the questions we currently have in the chat box. Please, if you have any more questions, please drop them and we'll answer them. In the meantime, we'll be moving ahead with our presentation. Okay, so over here we have the services that Negxy offers. So as you have seen, Negxy provides an all-round service. We offer counseling services. We help you with submission of application. We help you track your application to ensure that you get an admission. We also assist with interview preparations, be it for pre-pass interview, be it for the visa interview itself, like the US visa. We do assist with that as well. So all around, anything you need, just reach out. We will assist you with your student visa processing as well, with the kind of documents that you need to ensure that you are out of getting a refusal. We do our best to ensure that you do not get a refusal, and we'll provide you with all the necessary documents that you need to be able to go through your visa process successfully. And even after you enroll in your school or your university, either in the UK or anywhere else, we would still be available to offer you any assistance that you do need. All you have to do is reach out to us and we'll be ready to help you. Hi, Rosalind.
So hi Diamond. So thank you everyone for coming, and I would say thank you for the questions that you have asked. It seems we have a lot of science people, and these are the people I like the most because you get the juiciest courses. You also have, I'll say there are more access to job opportunities once you're here because they already have enough marketers and they already have enough of all those other courses. But if you're going into a science course, I would say the opportunities are endless for you. Um, so we do have a refer and earn program, and as a participant here, you're welcome to participate. Part of this, once you register on the form, you can definitely participate in this. So what we do is when you refer your friends and family to us, and they successfully go to the UK or use any of our services, because we do work with different countries, not only the UK. Even though this webinar is specifically for the UK, we work with the US, we work with Canada, we work with Australia, we work with Ireland, France, Germany, Netherlands, Finland, Malta. We do work with all these countries. And so if you have friends and families that are looking to go into any of these countries, including the UK, then you would stand the opportunity to earn once they have successfully processed this through us. Okay. If you want further details about this, please fill the form and we'll be giving you the details. In addition to this, anybody you refer from you also enjoys a 50% discount. So they are going to be getting double. So they are getting a discount working with us through you, and you are also going to be getting commissioned on their successful studies, when they are successful in their studies. So that is it. If you have any questions about this, you can simply still drop it in the comments and I will be able to answer. So sorry, we have one last question. I did political science, economics education. What courses can you help me to do in the UK university? So it all depends. We don't recommend courses out of the blue. We look at your current educational qualification, which you have shared here, and then your experience so far. Then we also look at your interest. What exactly are you interested in, right? And then we look at the opportunities that are existing for those interests, so that we can recommend accordingly. The idea really is to be able to study and have something to fall back on as a stay back option. You have seen when my colleague Joshua was making this presentation that there are other stay back options that you can access once you're done with your study after your graduate visa. So if you want to access those things, you need to be able to secure a job. So we would be recommending something that aligns with you, aligns with your passion, and also has job opportunities. So which is why, of course, it's always best that you contact us and we can do like a one-on-one. But there are so many courses. You have economics and then you have political science. There are so many options. The UK wonderfully has unlimited options. I don't even know. Some courses, you look at them and like, who comes to study this? Because they have streamlined it to be so specific to certain people. You will always find something that will be suitable for you. Can you help me with some accounting courses you offer? What do you mean by accounting courses? If you want to go for accounting, it depends if you're doing undergrad or postgrad. And then some of our accounting courses, once you're done with it, you will come out with a professional certification as well. So you don't have to do an additional professional certification once you are done. You come out with an international professional certification. So if it's an undergrad or a postgrad, you can't get accounting. It's not a problem. So when you say some accounting courses, are you referring to the university itself? I would say most, if not all of our universities that we work with have some sort of accounting degree for you. So you say, is there scholarships in the UK that accepts spouse to join as a study taught program? No, unfortunately, this was stopped in um, January of last year. It was the last time you could have gone with your spouse on a taught masters or yeah, a taught masters was 2023, right? So as of January 2024, it was stopped, right? So you could only go with your spouse on a research master, and that was what my colleague here has done. Only a research master. So it doesn't matter if the research is scholarship, if you're a paying student, as long as it's something that qualifies spouse, your spouse will be able to go, right? If you were doing this in 2023 and you had a scholarship, it would have also covered for your spouse and even your children. But unfortunately, that is no longer available. It's only available for masters by research, and masters by research is very complicated. It is not a process that it's not a straightforward process. It's basically like a PhD. And you do know that a PhD is not a straightforward process. So it's still something that one can look at, but I wouldn't put my mind so much on it. But it's basically an option anyway. So that's the only option outside of a PhD.
Hi, Rosalind. He asked the follow-up question to know if his spouse can join when he starts working.
Okay, so on the graduate visa, no. But if you get a job on a skilled worker visa, the tech visa, the youth mobility scheme, any other of those type of visas, yes. There is for the skilled worker visa a minimum salary that you have to earn. But in most cases, in most jobs that are sponsoring, if a job is actually going to sponsor your visa, most of them will reach that salary threshold, and then it will be you'll be able to bring in your spouse. Although they are trying to end it as well. So I would say it's good that you're doing this thing on time. You start on time because there are a lot of people that have taken advantage of these things and they are getting much. And so they're like, okay, let's reduce this thing, let's cut down. So if they want to cut down, let it not be you in this room, okay? I would want you to have already taken advantage before those things start taking effect. But for now, it's still possible.
Linda Nyako is asking if she did an educational psychology program and wants to know what course
With
there.
psychology, oh, you have a lot of options because you can even go into a medical course, you can do nursing. With psychology, there's a lot of, you can do law, you can do nursing, you can do any of the business courses, you can do data science. It all depends on your current background. You can also do educational courses as well. And oh my goodness, early childhood education. Oh my goodness. There are so much jobs available in that space that they are importing teachers from Asia, from Philippines and the likes, right? Because there's so much need for early childhood educators. So with psychology, you are very, very qualified to go for such a course. So like my colleague had said, you can reach out to us and we can look at those options for you. Please, a nurse who passed his exams, have not worked for 8 years, can he or she get a school? If yes, what degree can the person get? A master's, undergrad, please, what program? Ah, when you say a nurse who passes exam, the exam that he passed, what is it? Was it a degree program? Was it a BSc? A nursing BSc, or is it a diploma? It all depends. If it's a diploma, you go back into a degree, an undergrad. If it's a master's, you can go for a nursing master's. I would say some schools would cut the threshold for you to come after like 10 years, right? If you've had over 10 years, then well, it might be, you know, but with 8 years, we'll probably still be able to find some schools that will accept. Please, do I need to provide bank statement for this application? Yes, yes. So you need to provide your bank statement after application. My colleague Joshua talked about it. You have to have the balance of your tuition fee. Diamond, if you can just go to that slide, so I can just use the slide to answer. Aha. So you do have to have the balance of your tuition fee. So let's say you have a tuition fee of £12,000 and you have paid 3,000 as a deposit. You have a balance of £9,000. In addition to that, you also have to you come over here where you have living expenses. There is outside London and inside London. If you're outside London, that means your university is anywhere outside of London, but within the UK, you need to also show 10,224. So in this case, say you have a 9,000 balance out of a 12,000 school fees, and then you also go into a school outside of London, you're going to be needing to show 19,224 in your bank account for 28 days. So that equivalent, if you have a bounce account, you have 19,224. But if it's a CDs account, you have to have an equivalent of that pound figure in your account shown for 28 days. Usually we just say for a month. You print it, and that's what we use for your visa application. Okay. Now, if you're going inside London, you would need to now top it up with an additional 3,100 and something pounds. So you're going to be adding 13,347 with 9,000, which will give you somewhere around 22,347 equivalent in your account. So please, this is just for demonstration purposes. You can pay a deposit of 5,000 and what you have left to pay is 7,000 in terms of school fees. Your school fees might be 16,000 and you paid 3,000 and you have a 13,000 balance. So it's whatever is left from your school fees balance plus the living expense is what you pay. Now, if you have cleared your school fees, the only thing you need to show is your living cost. Okay, that's the only thing you need to show. And we do have one of our partner universities. They are giving 3,000 scholarship, towards your living cost. So if you're coming to them, they are located in Scotland. If you're coming to them for some particular courses, you need to show 10,224, but they give you scholarship of 3,000 in addition to that. So you only need to show 7,224 in your account for the purpose of your living cost. Okay. So there are options, there are lots of options, and that we cannot, share here because of, time and specific details, but we will give you all these details when you come to us. Initial consultation is free. Once you are comfortable working with us, once you've gotten your initial consultation and you are ready to work with us, that's when you need to pay your service fee, and that service fee is coming at a 50% discount. But you do have to register on our form to be able to access that, okay? And anybody that you also refer to us will also access that 50% as long as it's coming from you. So I think that's a wonderful thing, right?
And Rosalind, just add to the bank statement. So as we all know currently, the pound is going for about 13.9, which is roughly 14 cedis. So the money, as she mentioned, if you're going to be needing about 19,000 pounds in your account, is going to be much cheaper. You're going to be saving more if you are preparing yourself to go now, as compared to earlier in the year where the pound was going for about 21, 22 cedis. So which means that the earlier you are able to process your visa and your bank statement, all those things now is going to save you more, because definitely there's going to be a point where the cedi is going to start falling. So you're supposed to take advantage of this now as the cedi is appreciating, to be able to use less, to be able to travel to your destination that you want to study in and have a very good life. Yeah. Thank you. So I have our contacts displayed on the screen currently. You can contact either our Accra office, especially our Accra office, so that if you want to come to the office, I would advise that you should come to the office, come in, be able to meet us, have your consultation, because as Rosalie mentioned, the initial consultation is absolutely free. Is when you want to start working with us, when we know that we can assist you and you want to start working with us, that's when you have to pay a fee for us to be able to submit your application. So once again, we are located at Osu, close to Breakfast to Breakfast. If you are not familiar with Breakfast to Breakfast, we are close to Frankie's. So once you get to Frankie's, you can give us a call and we'll give you the directions to the office. Thank you so much. Hi, Rosalind, you can give the follow-up. Rosalind, you're muted.
My apologies. Thank you so much, Diamond. Yeah, so like my colleague said, initial consultation is free. Please take advantage of that. SC Roxin says, please, can you resend the link again? I think that we have just done that. Oh, yeah, Joseph has just done that. So do you work on Saturdays for the Accra office? Unfortunately, no, we don't work on Saturdays, but we do work Mondays to Fridays. You will find us in the office from 9 to 5, Mondays to Fridays. But you can always reach us via WhatsApp. We do have our WhatsApp contacts all through 24/7, basically. You can send messages and then it will be responded to during work hours. So it's not a problem, right? Whatever it is that can be done can definitely be covered within the working hour time. So thank you very much, Mr. Edmond Anang. Okay, so I'm going to leave this to my colleague to close now. I think we're done, and I'm really, really appreciative of all the questions that we've asked, and I'm hoping to see you on the other side. Okay, we do have a lot of juicy offers for you guys, so please take advantage of that. I know that I would have taken advantage if I wasn't already working here. So, anyways, bye and have an amazing day.
Thank you so much, Rosalind. Thank you all so much for time out of your day to join this session. Please ensure to complete the form in the chat box so that we can reach out to you and offer further assistance. We thank you all so much once again and do have a lovely day. Bye.
And a lovely weekend ahead.
Same to you.
Bye, everyone.
Okay. I'm not able to leave.